Never worry. Stop worrying about things you cannot change. You will not believe it. Scientists and doctors have come to the conclusion that 70% of all sicknesses and diseases that they have to deal with in hospitals and in psychiatric hospitals, in general hospitals, regular hospitals, is connected with worry. Either it was started with worry or it's connected with worry. When people worry and just get troubled and are always concerned about one thing or the other, most diseases grow out of that. When you are troubled, when you are worried, like even when I was growing up in my village in Africa, I was growing up with my grandmother that never was educated. She never even knew how to read. She didn't know how to read or write, but she knew something. She was always saying, "Don't worry, don't worry, don't you think too much, don't be troubled." And she says that when you are troubled, you have hypertension or you have a heart attack. Even people in remote village in Africa know that worrying gives you trouble. That by worrying, you create more trouble for yourself than solution. That worrying itself does not solve your problem. That worrying does not get any situation resolved. That the only thing that worry and will do for you and getting troubled and concern will do for you is to complicate matters. It will not just complicate matters on the ground, it will complicate your health. And most tumors that people have, most growth that develops into cancerous growth, most of them are as a result of being troubled. Have you ever heard of situations when, for example, I know situations when a tragedy strikes in the life of somebody. Maybe the husband died, or the wife died, or the son or daughter died. And then this person begins to be so worried and concerned. And soon after, maybe a year or a few months later, they also die. Not because they were sick originally, but because they were so worried and concerned about their tragedy and their loss that they themselves, eventually develop some kind of sickness and they die too. So worry is a killer. And can you imagine, science had said up to 70% of sicknesses and disease could be avoided if we could only avoid worrying, if we could only avoid getting ourselves troubled, if we could only stop and control your emotions and and enter into the rest of God. So this week, I am starting with this topic. Never worry about what you cannot change. It's just a waste to be worrying, even about things you can change. By worrying, nothing changes. By worrying, the only thing that changes is your health. You become sick more. You become bad. Things become worse. And when you worry, you also lose the serenity that is needed to come up with a solution. When you worry too much, you are troubled, and your heart is troubled so much that your mind is running up and down, and your mind is not at peace. Before you could take a decision and come up with some solutions, your mind needs to be at peace. And for your mind to really take the right decision, it needs to be able to think and be able to be in kind of an atmosphere of serenity that will be able to make it to do research and be able to analyze, compare things before you come up with a solution. And that solution has to be based not on emotions but on facts and on cool-headedness. But when you are worried, you are not cool-headed. When you are worried, you don't have the peace that it takes to take decisions. So worry doesn't solve problems. Worrying by itself does not get your situation changed. So we can overcome worries. And the Bible tells us about that. In the book of Matthew chapter 6, you've probably read that. The book Matthew 6, from verses 25 to 32, Jesus is almost half of a whole chapter. Jesus addresses the problem of worry. And Jesus knows that the worrying is one of the greatest distractions in life. And so Jesus was given a very great message. It's one of his first messages, one of the fundamental messages of the Lord Jesus Christ. And this message he gave, it's like one of his beatitude message or messages on the mount. And the core of the message is that stop worrying. And he named it specifically. Jesus nailed it very well. He said, do not worry about some certain things. And he named them. And those things there's some of these very same things that we are still worried about today. 2,000 years after Jesus spoke these words, we are still worried about the same thing that he said we should never worry about. So, what are those things that Jesus said we should never worry about? One, Jesus said, never you worry about what to eat. So, and then he said, never worry about what to drink, what to wear, and where to live. So, the very same things that we call the essentials of life, the needs of humanity, that man needs food, man needs clothing, and man needs shelter. So those are the basic needs of man. They are not wants, but they are needs. But even though they are needs, things that you really need, because without food you cannot live. And without clothes, you'll be walking naked. And without shelter, there will be, you'll be beaten by the sun, by the rain, and these are really needs. Yes, Jesus does not deny the fact that we need them, but he said the reason why we should not worry about them is because our Father, who is in heaven, knew that we needed these things before we even became aware that we needed them. When you are a child, for example, maybe 1 year old or 6 months old, you are not aware of these needs, but God was aware of them, and God supplied them even when you could not worry. When you are a child of 1 year old, you couldn't get yourself worry about what to eat or where to live or what to wear, but God was providing for you. God knew that you had those needs, and he provided for you when you could not even worry, when you could not even think about them, when you didn't even know you had those needs. So now that we become adults and we have grown, we sometimes think that now I must be in charge. Now I am grown up. I must resolve this problem. It's part of pride. That's why Jesus said, never you worry about these things: what to eat, what to drink, where to wear, and where to sleep, and all those things. The reason is because these are some of the elementary needs, everyday needs that we need to survive. So what that is saying is that don't be overwhelmed by survival, because anybody that is overwhelmed by his or her own survival never really makes a living. If your life is all about making a living, you will never really enjoy life. Anybody that is just struggling to make a living, you will not see the life itself, because you are busy trying to make a living. You are struggling to survive, to make a living, so you never really relax enough to even notice the life on its own. You never even get time to relax, to see life for itself. Talk less of enjoying life. So remember that. One of the reasons why God said never to worry about what to eat and what to drink and all those things, about the mundane things of life that you need for survival, is because when you begin to live like that, you begin to survive. You are trying to make a living. And why trying to make a living is bad is because anybody that is trying to make ends meet, that is trying to make a living, that is trying to survive, never really enjoys life. You will never really enjoy life. You will never actually understand life, or talk less of enjoying it, if you only try to make a living. And what do most of us do today? We are all struggling to make a living. We go to work because we want to make a living. The reason most of us are working is not because we want to fulfill our destiny, not because we want to accomplish the goals and the purposes of God for our lives. And that is actually supposed to be the reason for work. We are supposed to be working to please the Master who created us and sent us here to the earth to accomplish his goals and purposes. But most of the time, we don't even think about that. Most people don't even remember they are here for something. Most people don't even know what they are here for. They don't even know their goals, their purposes. They don't even know what they are called to accomplish on the earth. They just know that when you grow up, you must grow up and go to work, and for you to eat, and buy clothes for yourself, buy a house, buy a car, you need to survive. So because of that, everybody just rushing to go and study where they could, that a profession that could lead them and help them to accomplish their goals and purposes. No, but they are going to study and a profession that they think they pay well. You are not supposed to go to school and study because they pay well. You are not supposed to go and pick a profession because that is what everybody prefers. You are supposed to discover yourself first. You are supposed to discover your calling inside. You are supposed to discover what God created you for, and then choose a profession that will help you to develop that virtue, that gift, that calling, that talent, and then you go to work to accomplish that goal, that purpose for which God created you and sent you to the earth in the first place. But when you begin to think about survival, when you begin to think about how much you are going to make, when you begin to think about what you will eat and drink and everything, you stop living. Anytime your focus is on making a living, you stop living. Anybody that focuses on making a living or trying to make ends meet and just survive has died long time ago, and he has stopped to live. I don't know if you all remember the words of Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, I think, is the one who said that. Benjamin Franklin said that most people actually died, or most people have died at the age of 25 when they stopped dreaming. But you don't know. Nobody knows that they have died. They have died since the age of 25. Most people die at the age of 25. But nobody knows. They keep on living. They're still walking they are still walking about the street. They are still going to work. They are still, getting married, having children, just living like normal. But they have died. They are living corpses. They are living, skeletons. Why have they died? Why did they die? When you stop dreaming, when you stop seeking God's purpose and goals for your life, you die. You cease to live. When you begin to live just for what to eat and what to drink, when you begin to live for survival and just to make ends meet, not for purpose, you die. You only live when you pursue the heavenly purpose. You only live when you pursue the mission of God for your life. You only live when you strive to please the Creator, and when you discover what you are created for and you are working hard. Just live to make a living? Benjamin Franklin is right. You die. And most people die at the age of 25 in the average. But they only get to their grave at 75. So what Benjamin Franklin says is that most people die at 25, but they only get buried at 75. Most people die at 25, but only get buried at 75. Can you imagine that? Because 75 is when people now see that their body has died, and now they have to put them in the coffin and then go and take them to the burial ground and bury them. But long before then, 50 years before then, 55 years before then, they were dead already. And how do you know if someone is dead or not? You see a dead person when the person is living for survival only. When the person is only concerned and worried about making a living. When a person is only worried and troubled and running up and down only to survive, to make a living, to make some money to survive, the person is a dead walking around. It's a dead corpse, dead skeleton walking around. If you have been watching our videos and maybe you enjoy them, maybe you don't enjoy them, but still, we need you to help us spread the word. And for that to happen, we only need you to take 5 little steps. Please help us spread this word by liking the video. Then, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We also need you to press the notification button, and the way to do that is to click on the bell. You see the bell there? Click on it. Then, of course, leave your comments. Let's know what you're thinking about each video. And Finally, we need you to go and share the word, share this video on your Facebook timeline, on your Instagram, and every other platform that you have. All right? Let's win the world for Christ. Thank you so much.